The Stanley is a grand old resort hotel in Estes Park, Colorado that is surrounded by the magnificent Rocky Mountains and just a short drive from Rocky Mountain National Park, making it ideal for vacationers who want a little luxury with their rustic Colorado vacation. But of course, that's not the end of the story. The hotel gained a dark reputation after master of horror Stephen King made it the basis for his 1977 novel The Shining, which was then adapted into the cinematic masterpiece directed by Stanley Kubrick. Now are you ready for the really scary part? The Stanley Hotel isn't very scary. The story begins in 1974, when Stephen King and his wife Tabby stayed at the Stanley just before it closed for the winter season, when the hotel was virtually empty. At some point, King heard a ruckus coming from the room above his, and called the front desk to ask them to tell the people to keep it down, as he was trying to write. He was then informed by the front desk clerk that there was nobody staying in the room above him, and I assume a light bulb then went off above King's head, and his eyes lit up with dollar signs and made a cha-ching sound. King spent plenty of time at the hotel bar, as he was an alcoholic writer at the time, which would inspire his characters for his next 40 books. There he talked to a bartender named Lloyd Grady, a name which should hold some significance for you if you've seen the movie or read the book. Lloyd Grady told him ghostly tales of the Stanley Hotel, then presumably told him his drink was on the house as long as he murdered his family. King went on to write The Shining based on his experiences at the Stanley Hotel. As I said before, the book was then adapted into a movie directed by mad genius Stanley Kubrick, a film which King hated. King did approve of the more faithful 1997 TV miniseries adaptation, which I'll get to later. As a big fan of both the novel and the film, the Stanley Hotel has been high on my list of spooky destinations to visit for a long time. This buildup of anticipation perhaps contributed to my disappointment with my experience at the Stanley. Some may disagree with my opinion here, namely Stephen King, who stayed at the hotel and found it so scary that he wrote a best-selling novel about it, but Stephen King also thinks that a sentient fire hose is scary, so I'm comfortable disagreeing with him here. In all honesty, I actually prefer the movie to the book, which is something that makes the Stanley so disappointing to a man in search of a fright. If you go to the Stanley looking for the colossal, labyrinthine Art Deco madhouse from the Kubrick film, you're in for a letdown. If you prefer the Stephen King-approved 1997 TV miniseries, however, then I have good news and bad news for you. The good news is the hotel is exactly like the one from the miniseries, as it was filmed at the actual Stanley Hotel. The bad news is you're a moron with terrible taste. If you're walking down these halls afraid that Steven Weber from Wings might be around the corner, then I don't know what I can do for you. Good luck with your life. The Overlook Hotel of the Kubrick film was actually filmed on a soundstage in England, though the design was based on the Ahwahnee Hotel in Yosemite National Park. Coincidentally, I've actually been to the Ahwahnee, and it felt much more like the Overlook Hotel to me. In fact, I was thinking of the Overlook before I even found out that it was based on the Ahwahnee. The exteriors of the Overlook were filmed at the Timberline Lodge near Mount Hood in Oregon, which I haven't been to, but I guess I could check out in order to complete my Shining Hotel triumvirate. Now obviously I can't hold it against the Stanley Hotel that it doesn't resemble a movie, but it does take away from the creepy factor when you learn just how much of the myth surrounding the hotel was created purely from the book and the movie. But there were many layers to my disappointment that started to add up pretty quickly. The first layer is when you see the hotel and, instead of a long drive up a lonely, twisty-turny road to the secluded hotel deep in the mountains, the hotel is just right there, just off the road. Look, there's a Safeway. Maybe it wasn't there when the story takes place, but it's like seeing a Subway sandwich shop at Dracula's castle. If The Shining had taken place at the actual Stanley Hotel, Wendy and Danny could have easily walked through the snow and into town. They would have been drinking hot chocolate at one of the many delightful restaurants nearby, while Jack was still bouncing a tennis ball of a Native American tapestry. Nevertheless, I tried to keep an open mind and signed myself and my brother up for a spooky haunted ghost tour of the hotel, hoping some ghost stories would buoy my spirits. These hopes were immediately dashed when I entered the waiting room for the tour and found a TV screen playing scenes from the goddamn TV miniseries starring goddamn Steven Weber. Dude, I know it was filmed there, but Jesus Christ, so was Dumb and Dumber. You don't see memorabilia from that movie plastered all over the... Oh, never mind. And it was all kind of downhill from there. The tour itself was mildly enjoyable, and the tour guide did his best to make it entertaining, but he didn't have much material to work with, being forced to tell some of the blandest ghost stories you've ever heard. All of the ghosts who allegedly haunt the Stanley Hotel were, in life, happy guests who, after shuffling off their mortal coil, returned to the hotel because they liked it so much. I'm serious. That's it. That's what they told us. There is no dark history at the hotel, no vengeful spirits, no caretaker driven to madness and murder, just some roaring 20s swells who, after dying elsewhere, decided to pick up their ethereal suitcases and move their rich, dead, translucent asses back to haunt their favorite old haunt.
His favorite table under his back bright light fixture. His spirit has been captured in the reflection of these mirrors facing his favorite table. People have captured that person standing side by side multiple times throughout different tours in that back left mirror, and most recently, we've been capturing this lady in a black lace dress within these mirrors along the left wall, pacing back and forth in this area, in this outside wall in the black lace dress.
I'm sorry. That is just the lamest excuse for a haunting I've ever heard. There is nothing spooky about that. The closest thing to a scary ghost origin story at this place is that in 1911 there was a gas explosion that damaged the hotel and injured several employees, and guess what? Everyone was fine. The worst someone got was a broken ankle, but everyone mended and got better. That's the worst thing that's happened at this hotel, and what do we get out of it? The ghost of some guy's ankle? Nope. We don't even get that. We get some rich fat cat sitting at a table he loved so well in life. Jesus Christ, give me something I can work with here. I'm not saying I want anyone to have died horribly so that I can enjoy the possibility of their tortured spirits wandering around, but, they're already dead anyway, so what's the difference? The tour also showed us this American flag, which contains an oh-so-spooky water stain that supposedly looks like a bearded man's face. Or, a slightly discolored spot on a flag. You can maybe see the face if you squint, but honestly, it's not worth the effort. The only thing that was actually creepy at the hotel was this portrait above the grand main staircase that looks like Dick Cheney. Then, as if to compound our disappointment, it was revealed that the most famous room in the hotel, room 237, would not be part of our tour. In fact, room 237 is not actually a room in the hotel. In the book, the scary room with the dead naked bathtub woman is room 217, which is an actual room. But, in a tragic misunderstanding of human nature, the hotel requested that the room number be changed for the movie to avoid scaring away customers. Considering the fact that the book and movie are the only reason the hotel is famous and still operating today, I'd say that this decision was perhaps misguided. Now guests specifically ask to stay in room 237 and flock to the hotel in the hopes of seeing some creepy British girls in the hallway, and get let down both times. Luckily for us, the McTravel brothers have no problem disobeying some hotel's paltry rules, so we managed to sneak up to the floor for a closer look at the infamous room 217. While it still wasn't all that scary, as it was just a normal hotel room door, it was fun just to be there, and probably the best part of my visit to the Stanley. That and the fact that we were in the middle of a snowstorm while we were on our tour, which made it feel a little more like the shining hotel I had been dreaming of. The Stanley does have the occasional fun reference to the Kubrick movie littered around, such as the new hedge maze in the front of the hotel, which, while startlingly uninspiring, was pretty fun to run around in during a snowstorm. But really, you can see through the hedges. If Jack Torrance had been chasing Danny through this, he could have just walked through these weak-ass shrubs and grabbed him. In the end, though, my main issue with the Stanley Hotel is that, as spooky destinations go, this place just didn't have that vibe. Of all the spooky destinations I've been, and baby, I've been to some spooky places, the Stanley just didn't have a sinister air about it. As a Stephen King fan, it was cool to see the real place that inspired one of his most famous novels, but I got the feeling that the ghostly rumors about the Stanley either came from the novel or were more of a publicity stunt than anything. Worse than that, from the ghost stories I heard on my tour, I got the sense that the management decided they wanted to draw tourists to the hotel with ghastly tales, but at the same time didn't want to scare anyone off, so they made sure the scares were as watered down as possible. So they have ghosts, but they're nice ghosts. And they're only here because they enjoy all the amenities, such as the free continental breakfast and fine dining options. Would you like to look at our menu? None of this is to say that you shouldn't stay at or visit the Stanley Hotel. It's luxurious and decently priced, and situated ideally in the middle of some truly stunning scenery. But if you're looking for a place that will give you a chill down your spine, look elsewhere. Most roadside motels are scarier than this place, though that's mostly because of mysterious stains and bedbugs. The Stanley is clean and tidy, but not scary, so it really depends on what you're looking for. I just wanted a place where I could make all the Shining references I could recollect, chase my brother around a hedge maze, then drink some advocat with Delbert Grady and enjoy a fish and goose soiree with some roaring 20s ghosts. Then maybe retire to my room for a romp with a man in a bear costume. Is that so much to ask? Apparently it is. Anyway, great party, isn't it?